Samyojana. Translated as fetters or bondages, are 10 mental factors or defilements that bind beings to the cycle of birth and death samsara. In Buddhist teachings, these fetters create and perpetuate suffering. By keeping individuals trapped in the cycle of existence, the 10 fetters are an essential concept. In understanding the progressive stages of enlightenment in Theravada Buddhism, the 10 fetters are classified into 2 groups based on their strength and the level of realization they are overcome. 1. Lower fetters, Orambhagiya Samyojana. A. Sakkaya-ditthi is a Pali term that can be a self-identity view or personality belief. In Buddhist teachings, it refers to the wrong view or misconception that there is a permanent, unchanging self or essence within an individual, which is the core or essence of their being. Key aspects and characteristics of sakkaya-ditthi in Buddhism include belief in a permanent self. Sakkaya-ditthi involves holding on to the idea that there is an unchanging and enduring self, soul, or essence that persists throughout one's life and beyond, even through different lifetimes. Root of ignorance. Sakkaya-ditthi is considered one of the primary delusions or fetters that bind beings to the cycle of birth and death samsara. It rises due to ignorance of vijja, about the true nature of reality, linked to the notion of I and mine. This self-identity view gives rise to the strong sense of I or self, which becomes the basis for attachment to possessions, relationships, and experiences as mine or belonging to me. Implications for suffering. Sakkaya-ditthi leads to a false sense of self, causing individuals to become deeply attached to their identities, possessions, and experiences. This attachment results in craving, clinging, and aversion, leading to various forms of suffering and unsatisfactoriness. Dukkha, obstacle to liberation, as one of the 10 fetters Samyojana that bind beings to samsara. Sakkaya-ditthi acts as a significant obstacle to liberation and enlightenment. It hinders one from gaining true insight into the impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self nature of all phenomena. In Buddhism, the understanding of anatta, or non-self, is a fundamental aspect of the teachings. It emphasizes that all phenomena, including the individual, are devoid of a permanent, independent, and unchanging self. Instead, existence is a constantly changing and interconnected process. The practice of insight meditation, vipassana, is crucial in overcoming sakkaya-ditthi and realizing the true nature of reality. By cultivating mindfulness and wisdom, practitioners can directly observe the impermanence and insubstantiality of all mental and physical phenomena, leading to the gradual eradication of this wrong view and the development of a deeper understanding of non-self anatta. The realization of anatta is an essential step towards liberation from suffering and attaining higher stages of enlightenment. B. Vicikiccha is a Pali term that can be translated as skeptical doubt or uncertainty in the context of Buddhist teachings. It refers to the state of indecision or lack of conviction regarding important spiritual matters, such as the Buddha's teachings Dharma, the path to liberation, or the existence of enlightened beings arahants. Key aspects and characteristics of vicikiccha in Buddhism include doubt and hesitation. Vicikiccha involves doubts and hesitations that arise in the mind of a practitioner regarding the validity, efficacy, or relevance of certain aspects of the Buddhist teachings or the spiritual path. Obstacle to faith and progress. Skeptical doubt can hinder spiritual progress and the development of faith, saddha. In the teachings and practices of Buddhism, it may lead to a lack of commitment to the path and delay one's efforts to achieve insight and wisdom. Types of doubt. Vicikiccha can manifest in various forms, including doubts about the Buddha's enlightenment, doubts about the efficacy of meditation practices, doubts about the law of karma, doubts about rebirth, and doubts about the attainments of enlightened beings. Resolution of doubt. In the Buddhist path, overcoming vicikiccha is essential for progress. This is usually achieved through study, contemplation, and personal experience. As practitioners gain insight and direct experience through their practice, their doubts gradually diminish, leading to a deepening of faith and understanding. Faith and wisdom. Faith saddha, in Buddhism, is not blind belief, but rather a sense of trust and confidence that arises from careful examination and personal experience. As doubts are resolved, faith becomes stronger and is complemented by wisdom panna, which rises from direct insight into the nature of reality. Inquiry and investigation. While vicikiccha can hinder progress, the Buddha encouraged questioning and critical inquiry. He advised his followers not to accept teachings blindly, but to examine them thoroughly and personally verify their validity through practice. Overcoming vicikiccha is crucial for practitioners on the Buddhist path. Cultivating mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom can help dispel doubts and lead to a deeper understanding of the teachings. As practitioners gain more direct insight into the truth of the Dharma, their faith becomes unshakable, and they can progress further on the path toward liberation and enlightenment. C. Silabbata-paramasa, also known as attachment to rites and rituals, is one of the 10 fetters Samyojana that bind beings to the cycle of birth and death samsara. In Buddhist teachings, it refers to the superstitious belief in external rites, rituals, and religious observances as a means to attain liberation or enlightenment. Key aspects and characteristics of silabbata-paramasa in Buddhism include misunderstanding the path to liberation. Silabbata-paramasa involves mistakenly believing that liberation can be achieved solely through the performance of external religious practices, rituals, or observances. This attachment leads one to believe that specific actions or ceremonies alone can bring about spiritual awakening and freedom from suffering. Reliance on outward observances. Those afflicted with silabbata-paramasa may excessively focus on external rituals, ceremonies, and other religious activities, without understanding the deeper principles and insights that underlie the Buddhist path. Superstition and ritualism. Attachment to rites and rituals can lead to a superstitious mindset, where individuals expect certain actions or ceremonies to have magical or automatic effects on their spiritual progress, independent of their understanding or inner transformation. Obstacle to true insight. Silabbata-paramasa can hinder genuine spiritual development, as it emphasizes the external forms of religious practice rather than the cultivation of wisdom and insight into the nature of reality. Importance of right view and understanding in Buddhism. Right view sakkaya-ditthi is a crucial factor on the path to liberation. It involves understanding the Four Noble Truths, the three characteristics of existence: impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self, and the law of karma. Right view provides the foundation for authentic practice, guiding individuals to direct insight and genuine liberation. The Buddha emphasized the importance of inner understanding and transformation rather than reliance solely on external rituals and ceremonies. While rituals and observances can have a supportive role in one's practice, they are not a substitute for genuine wisdom and insight. The true path to liberation involves cultivating mindfulness, ethical conduct, concentration, and wisdom, leading to a direct understanding of the nature of reality and the cessation of suffering. To overcome silabbata-paramasa, practitioners are encouraged to develop right view through the study of the Buddha's teachings, Dharma, meditation, and personal reflection. By understanding the principles behind religious practices, and using them as a supportive tool for inner development, one can progress on the path toward genuine liberation and freedom from suffering. D. Kamacchanda is a Pali term used in Buddhism to refer to sensual desire or sensual craving. It is one of the 5 hindrances, nivana, that obstruct the mind and hinder progress in meditation and spiritual development. Key aspects and characteristics of kamacchanda in Buddhism include craving for sensual pleasures. Kamacchanda involves the strong attachment and desire for sensual pleasures, which are experiences that gratify the senses, such as pleasurable sights, sounds, tastes, smells, and physical sensations. Rooted in delusion, sensual desire arises from the delusion that the pursuit of sensory experiences and pleasurable sensations will lead to lasting happiness and fulfillment. However, in Buddhism, sensual pleasures are considered fleeting and ultimately unsatisfying, obstacle to concentration and insight. Kamacchanda is one of the 5 hindrances that disturb the mind and obstruct deep concentration, samadhi, and clear insight vipassana during meditation. It keeps the mind agitated and restless, making it challenging to attain higher states of consciousness. Cause of suffering, craving for sensual pleasures, is considered a fundamental cause of suffering dukkha. In Buddhism, it perpetuates the cycle of desire, attachment, and aversion, leading to repeated birth and death samsara. Different forms of sensual desire. Sensual desire can manifest in various ways, including desire for pleasant sensory experiences, attachment to physical beauty, cravings for delicious foods, and longing for romantic or sexual relationships. Contemplation and overcoming kamacchanda. In Buddhist practice, overcoming kamacchanda involves recognizing the transient and unsatisfactory nature of sensual pleasures and developing mindfulness, sati, to observe and understand the arising and passing away of desires. Through mindfulness and concentration, one can gradually weaken the power of sensual desire and cultivate contentment and inner peace. The cultivation of the 7 factors of enlightenment bhajvanga is instrumental in overcoming the 5 hindrances, including kamacchanda. The factors of mindfulness, investigation of phenomena, energy, joy, tranquility, concentration, and equanimity support the development of mental clarity and insight, leading to the weakening and eventual eradication of sensual desire. By transcending sensual craving, practitioners can liberate themselves from the cycle of attachment and aversion, move closer to the path of enlightenment, and experience a profound and lasting peace that goes beyond the temporary pleasures of sensory experiences. E. Vyapada, often translated as ill will or hatred, is a mental state in Buddhism that involves feelings of animosity, aversion, hostility, anger, or resentment towards oneself or others. It is one of the 3 poisons kilesas, along with greed lobha and delusion moha, which are considered the root causes of suffering dukkha and the cycle of birth and death, samsara. Key aspects and characteristics of vyapada in Buddhism include negative mental state. Vyapada is a negative and unwholesome mental state that arises when one is displeased, offended, or irritated by certain situations, people, or events. It can range from mild irritation to intense anger or hatred. Source of suffering. When individuals harbor feelings of ill will, it creates internal turmoil and disturbs the mind. This leads to suffering for both the one experiencing ill will and potentially others affected by its expression. Rooted in ignorance, like other unwholesome mental states, vyapada is rooted in ignorance of ija, of the true nature of reality. It rises due to misunderstanding, attachment, and identification with thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Obstacle to inner peace. Ill disrupts inner peace, contentment, and clarity of mind. It can hinder meditation and lead to harmful actions or speech towards oneself or others. Transforming vyapada in Buddhist practice. Transforming vyapada involves cultivating loving-kindness, metta, and compassion, karuna, as antidotes. By developing these positive qualities, one gradually replaces ill will with a compassionate and understanding attitude towards oneself and others. The 4 Brahmaviharas, the cultivation of loving-kindness, compassion, empathetic joy, and equanimity, known as the 4 Brahmaviharas, is particularly beneficial in overcoming vyapada. These wholesome attitudes help in developing positive and benevolent qualities of the mind, contemplation and mindfulness. Practitioners are encouraged to contemplate the harmful consequences of ill will and develop mindfulness to recognize its arising and passing away. Through insight and understanding, they can weaken the power of ill will and prevent its escalation. By overcoming vyapada, individuals cultivate inner peace, harmony, and non-harming towards oneself and others. Developing loving-kindness and compassion fosters an attitude of goodwill and understanding, fostering positive relationships and contributing to the well-being and happiness of oneself and the wider community. 2. Higher fetters Uddhambhagiya Samyojana. F. Rupa-raga, translated as attachment to form or attachment to the material realm, is a mental state in Buddhism that involves strong desire or craving for existence. In the form realm of existence, which is one of the higher heavenly realms, key aspects and characteristics of rupa-raga in Buddhism include desire for a heavenly realms. Rupa-raga is the craving for rebirth in the form realm, which is a higher heavenly realm characterized by refined material existence and greater levels of bliss. Compared to the human realm, attachment to subtle forms, the form realm consists of beings who have refined bodies and experience pleasure and happiness through the enjoyment of beautiful and subtle forms. Rupa-raga arises from attachment to these desirable aspects of existence, motivated by sensual desire. While rupa-raga is related to the form realm, it is still a form of sensual desire, as it is driven by attachment to pleasurable experiences and sensory enjoyment, albeit in a more refined and subtle form, transcending the sensual realm. In Buddhism, the ultimate goal is to transcend all realms of existence, including the form realm, and attain liberation from the cycle of birth and death samsara. Craving for any realm of existence, including heavenly realms, can perpetuate the cycle of rebirth, not limited to the form realm. Although rupa-raga is specifically associated with the form realm, it represents a broader principle of attachment to any pleasurable or desirable aspects of existence. It is considered one of the 5 hindrances nirvana that obstruct meditation and spiritual progress. Overcoming rupa-raga. Overcoming rupa-raga involves recognizing the impermanence and unsatisfactoriness of all realms of existence, including heavenly realms. Practitioners are encouraged to develop insight and wisdom panna, to see the fleeting and conditional nature of all experiences. Cultivating dispassion and equanimity. By cultivating dispassion towards all forms of existence and developing equanimity upekkha, practitioners can free themselves from the attachment to form and progress on the path towards liberation. In Buddhist practice, it is essential to transcend attachment to all realms of existence, including both the sensory realm, kamaloka, and the form realm, rupaloka. By cultivating insight and understanding of the nature of reality, by letting go of all forms of craving and attachment, practitioners can attain the ultimate liberation of nibbana, nirvana, and break free from the cycle of birth and death. G. Rupa-raga, translated as attachment to the formless realms, or attachment to the formless existence, is a mental state in Buddhism that involves strong desire, or craving for existence in the arupaloka, which are the formless realms of existence. Key aspects and characteristics of rupa-raga in Buddhism include desire for formless realms. Rupa-raga is the craving for rebirth in the arupaloka, which is a higher and more subtle realm of existence compared to the form realm rupaloka. The arupaloka consists of realms where beings exist without a physical form but experience refined levels of consciousness and mental states. Attachment to mental states. The formless realms are characterized by different levels of formlessness and subtle mental states. Rupa-raga arises from attachment to these formless experiences and the desire to exist in these refined states of consciousness, transcending all realms. In Buddhism, the ultimate goal is to transcend all realms of existence, including both the sensory realm kamaloka, the form realm rupaloka, and the formless realms arupaloka. Craving for any realm of existence can perpetuate the cycle of rebirth and hinder spiritual progress beyond sensual desires. While rupa-raga is related to higher realms of existence, it is not based on ordinary sensual desires related to the physical senses. Instead, it is an attachment to more subtle and formless aspects of consciousness, recognizing impermanence and unsatisfactoriness. Overcoming rupa-raga involves understanding the impermanent and unsatisfactory nature of all realms of existence, including the formless realms. Practitioners develop insight and wisdom to see the limitations of craving and attachment, cultivating renunciation and equanimity. By cultivating renunciation and non-attachment to all forms of existence, practitioners can free themselves from the allure of the formless realms and progress on the path towards liberation. In Buddhist practice, it is crucial to transcend attachment to all realms of existence, including the sensory realm, the form realm, and the formless realms. By developing insight and understanding the nature of reality, practitioners can let go of all forms of craving and attachment, leading to the ultimate liberation of nibbana nirvana. True liberation lies beyond all conditioned realms and mental states, and it is achieved by breaking free from the cycle of birth and death. Mana, in the context of Buddhism, is a Pali term that can be translated as conceit, arrogance, pride, or self-importance. It refers to a mental state in which individuals develop an inflated sense of self-worth, superiority, or importance in comparison to others. Key aspects and characteristics of mana in Buddhism include sense of self-importance. Mana involves a strong identification with one's own qualities, achievements, and abilities. Individuals who experience mana tend to overvalue themselves and seek recognition, praise, or admiration from others. Rooted in ignorance. Like other mental defilements, mana is rooted in ignorance avidya of the true nature of reality. It rises from the misunderstanding and misperception of the self as permanent, separate, and superior to others. Comparison with others. Mana often arises in comparison to others. It can manifest as feeling superior to others, feeling inferior and seeking validation, or feeling equal but desiring acknowledgement. Obstacle to humility and empathy. Mana hinders the development of humility, compassion, and empathy towards others. It reinforces a self-centered perspective, making it challenging to connect genuinely with others' experiences and suffering. The danger of spiritual pride. In the context of spiritual practice, mana can manifest as spiritual pride, where individuals believe themselves to be spiritually superior to others due to their knowledge, attainments, or practice. Balancing self-confidence and humility. While self-confidence can be beneficial, mana represents an unhealthy an exaggerated form of self-esteem. Buddhism encourages the cultivation of balanced self-confidence, along with humility and a realistic view of oneself and others. Overcoming mana. Overcoming mana involves cultivating insight into the nature of the self and developing humility and non-attachment. Practitioners are encouraged to recognize the impermanent, insubstantial, and interconnected nature of all things, including the self. Cultivating equanimity. By cultivating equanimity upekkha and compassion karuna, individuals can reduce the grip of mana and develop a more balanced and compassionate attitude towards themselves and others. In Buddhist practice, the development of wisdom panna is crucial to overcome mana. Through mindfulness and introspection, practitioners can become aware of their thoughts, emotions, and self-perceptions, thereby challenging the tendencies of arrogance and pride. By seeing through the illusion of a fixed and separate self, one can cultivate genuine humility, compassion, and an attitude of equality towards all beings. This leads to a more harmonious and compassionate way of relating to others, and is an important aspect of the path towards liberation from suffering dukkha. Dukkha, in the context of Buddhism, is a Pali term that can be translated as restlessness, agitation, or unsettledness. It refers to a mental state characterized by inner turbulence, distraction, and the inability to focus or be at peace. Key aspects and characteristics of a dukkha in Buddhism include restless mind. A dukkha involves a mind that is restless, agitated, and unable to find calmness and tranquility. It is a state of inner turmoil that can manifest as mental fidgeting, impatience, or constant preoccupation with various thoughts and concerns. Obstacle to concentration. A dukkha is considered one of the 5 hindrances, nivarana, that obstruct deep concentration, samadhi during meditation, and spiritual practice. It prevents the mind from settling and becoming still, caused by attachment and aversion. Restlessness can arise from strong attachment to desires and expectations, as well as aversion to unpleasant experiences or situations. The mind continuously chases after sensory stimuli and experiences, making it difficult to stay focused on the present moment. Result of inner discontent. A dukkha can be a result of inner discontent and dissatisfaction. When individuals are dissatisfied with their current experiences or circumstances, they may seek distractions or restlessly search for something different or better. Impatience and mental agitation. Restlessness often involves impatience and the desire for quick results or immediate gratification. It can lead to mental agitation and difficulty in staying focused on long-term goals or practices. Overcoming a dukkha. Overcoming a dukkha involves cultivating mindfulness, sati, and concentration, samadhi, to calm and stabilize the mind. Through mindfulness, individuals can recognize the arising of restlessness and gently bring the mind back to the present moment. The development of patience and contentment is also essential in overcoming a dukkha. The role of insight and wisdom. Developing insight, vipassana, and wisdom panna is instrumental in understanding the root causes of restlessness and agitation. Through insight, individuals can see the impermanent and unsatisfactory nature of the mind's constant movement and learn to let go of attachments and aversions. Cultivating equanimity. Cultivating equanimity upekkha helps in balancing the mind and finding a sense of inner stability and peace, even amidst external challenges and distractions. In Buddhist practice, the skillful cultivation of mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom is essential in overcoming a dukkha. By developing a calm and focused mind, individuals can gradually free themselves from restlessness and attain greater peace, clarity, and insight on the path towards liberation from suffering dukkha. Avijja, often translated as ignorance or delusion, is a fundamental concept in Buddhism that plays a central role in the perpetuation of suffering, dukkha, and the cycle of birth and death samsara. It refers to a lack of understanding or insight into the true nature of reality. Key aspects and characteristics of avijja in Buddhism include root of all defilements. Avijja is considered the root cause of all mental defilements, kilesas, and unwholesome states of mind. It gives rise to desires, attachments, aversions, and other forms of ignorance that cloud the mind and lead to suffering. Ignorance of the Four Noble Truths. Avijja primarily involves ignorance of the Four Noble Truths, which are the core teachings of Buddhism. These truths are the truth of suffering, the truth of the origin of suffering, craving and attachment, the truth of the cessation of suffering, nibbana, and the truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering, the Noble Eightfold Path. Belief in a permanent self. Avijja leads to the false perception of an enduring and unchanging self, Atman, or soul within individuals. This misconception gives rise to the idea of a separate, permanent identity, which becomes the basis for attachment, pride, and selfishness. 3 poisons and 12 links of dependent origination. Avijja is closely related to the 3 poisons: greed, aversion, and delusion, and is the first link. In the 12 links of dependent origination, paticca samuppada, ignorance leads to volitional formations, sankharas, and perpetuates the cycle of birth and death. Root of samsara. Avijja is the underlying cause of the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth samsara. As long as ignorance remains, beings are bound to the continuous cycle of suffering and existence. Overcoming avijja. Overcoming avijja is crucial on the Buddhist path to liberation. It involves developing insight, vipassana, and wisdom, panna, to directly perceive the impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self nature of all phenomena. Role of mindfulness and right view. The cultivation of mindfulness, sati, and right view, sakkaya-ditthi, is essential in overcoming avijja. By developing clear comprehension and a proper understanding of reality, individuals can gradually uproot ignorance and attain liberation. Attaining enlightenment. The complete eradication of avijja marks the attainment of enlightenment, bodhi, and the realization of nibbana, nirvana. With the cessation of ignorance, the other mental defilements are extinguished, leading to the end of suffering and the cycle of birth and death. In Buddhist practice, understanding and overcoming avijja is a central focus. By developing wisdom, insight, and the cultivation of the Eightfold Path, practitioners can gradually dispel ignorance and move towards the ultimate goal of liberation from suffering. As a person progresses on the path of enlightenment, they gradually overcome these fetters through deepening insight and wisdom. The stages of enlightenment are marked by the gradual weakening and eradication of these fetters. A stream enterer, Sotapanna, has eradicated the first 3 fetters. A once returner, Sakadagami, has weakened the first 3 fetters and reduced sensual desire and ill will. A non-returner, Anagami, has eliminated the first 5 fetters, including sensual desire and ill will. An arahant, the highest stage of enlightenment, has eradicated all 10 fetters, attaining full liberation from samsara and achieving nibbana, nirvana.